This is Sakhen Ali, standing on the banks of the Brahmaputra, where he and his forefathers were born. However, he is now a declared foreigner. Ali isn't alone. The citizenship of 4 million people is now in doubt. 4 million people. That's almost the entire population of Croatia. Assam has a register containing the names of Indian citizens in the state. It is called the National Register of Citizens, or the NRC. The register was prepared for the first time in 1951, soon after independence. This is how the map of Assam has changed since the British era. This entire region was one country before independence. Aided by the colonial government, people moved freely across the region before the idea of borders came into place. The British government promoted migration from populous Bengali-speaking regions to the new, underpopulated province of Assam to get workers for the tea gardens there, and later to cultivate the fertile valley of the Brahmaputra. But the massive Bengali migration was met with resistance from the Assamese, starting from the 1900s. They feared that the indigenous population of the region would become a minority. This issue has remained central to Assamese politics post-independence, leading to the announcement of the first National Register of Citizens. But it did not solve the issue for all. In 1979, a by-election was held for the Mangaldoy Lok Sabha constituency. Allegedly, 45,000 Bangladeshis were found casting votes. This prompted the Assam movement against migrants to the state. Have you heard of the Nelly massacre? The Assam movement lasted for 6 long years. A total of 855 students lost their lives in the struggle. In 1985, the Rajiv Gandhi government signed the historic Assam Accord with ASU and AGP. Guess who came to power in the next election? The Assam Accord stated that everybody who came in after March 24, 1971 is illegal, and that the 1951 NRC would be updated. But it took more than 30 years for the NRC update to begin, which brings us to why this video is being made. This is Narendra Modi in 2014 as a prime ministerial candidate in Assam. Guess who won the Lok Sabha seats in Assam? This is Narendra Modi again in 2016.
बांग्लादेश से जो हिंदू आया है वो शरणार्थी है, वो मजबूर आया है.
Guess who won in the state government elections? This made Sarbananda Sonowal the chief minister of Assam. He is the Jatiyo Nayok. Other than the current NRC, there is more detection of foreigners happening in Assam. Since 1997, the State Election Commission has been putting a D in front of voters they think are doubtful. D for doubtful. So if you find out you are a D voter, the border police will check your documents and your case will be transferred to the Foreigners Tribunals. And if you are not able to prove your citizenship in an FT, you will be declared a foreigner and sent to a detention camp. Which brings us back to Sakhen Ali.
আমার নাম আমি লেখি সাকেন আলী, ওখানে লেখা আছে সখেন আলী। এইটুকুই পার্থক্য, আর কোনো দোষ নাই।
What happens if, in this process, Indian citizens are left out? The NRC has enormous popular support because people thought it would be free and fair since it was monitored by the Supreme Court. But somewhere along the way, alarm bells started ringing. Why? Because you know who runs Assam. And the BJP isn't subtle about its agenda, is it? The final draft of the NRC was published on July 30th, and 4 million people were not included in the list. Not just Sakhen Ali, a former army officer, the family of a former president of India, the family of the first deputy speaker of Assam's legislature, an 8-year-old boy. You have got to be kidding. How can a freedom fighters and a former president's family not be Indians?
अगर हम लोग फॉरेनर होगा तो असम में जितना लोग आए सब फॉरेनर होने पड़ेगा.
Meanwhile, in 2016, the BJP introduced the Citizenship Amendment Bill in the Lok Sabha. The bill plans to amend the Citizenship Act of 1955 to provide citizenship to religious minorities who are being persecuted in India's neighboring countries, In this case, religious minorities means Hindus, Sikhs, Buddhists, Jains, Parsis, and Christians. Or to put it another way, Muslims are not welcome. India is a secular country and citizenship rules cannot be along the lines of religion. Period. And now, what will happen to the 4 million people who did not make it to the final list? They can file claims and objections to prove their citizenship. Then will come the final NRC. And people who are still excluded can approach the Foreigners Tribunals or the Guwahati High Court and then the Supreme Court. Can you imagine how long it could take to complete this process? No one really knows. To give you an example, the number of cases pending in all the high courts in India right now is roughly 3 million. So, is deportation the final answer, even for those who pursue the legal process? Bangladesh has never officially acknowledged that any of its citizens migrated illegally to Assam, and there is no repatriation treaty between the two countries. So what happens to people who are declared non-citizens? Remember the Rohingya of Myanmar? They will eventually become stateless, stripped of their rights, and they might be held in detention camps. Which brings us to the final question. What are detention camps? Detention camps are quasi-jails when non-citizens are detained. And because these people are not citizens, they are not even granted the same rights as other prisoners. They are effectively nobodies, with no home to go back to and no hope of release. Does this remind you of something?